Hey, what's up guys? Max2015, how are you guys doing tonight? I am excited to show you guys a couple of replays. Tonight's gonna be, well, this particular video is going to be all TRM, tanks, rifles, and medics. I want to show you 4 attacks with them. 2 of them, actually 3 of them were leaderboard players. So I'm actually pretty proud to share this with you guys. Of course, I did go full boost, 5 offensive statues all boosted. The first base we took here, you can see I have a lot of tries. These bases are actually pretty brutal tonight. But let's start with the best one of the night, which is, I think his name says Kamlamo, which, I don't know, something about the water brother. Anyhow, he's the number 8th player in the world as of right now. I think he is. At 1766 victory points. So he was a pretty good takedown. 6 side statues, 4 of them boosted. We went with regular classic TRM. As usual, put the rifles in the front, put all the tanks down on the left, leaning towards the left corner, and then dump all of my gunboat energy on the shock launcher and the boom cannon in the front there. Oh, I need to lower my speakers, my headphones, they're kind of loud. I know it happens often. I should really adjust the video before I start. Anyhow, let the troops start working their way into the base. You can see, I think I have already lost all of my rifles, so I had to start throwing critters, mainly to deactivate that one boom cannon in the front, but more importantly to distract the cannon that was on the left side so it could buy my tanks enough time to destroy it. Then I needed my tanks to really take care of that the shock launcher, because that thing was very, very annoying. Fortunately for me, there weren't any more deadly buildings right around me, at least for the time being, so I was able to flare to the left wall, which is my best friend recently. I did throw a smoke because some of the tanks were kind of moving into the range of that little cannon, so I threw a smoke to kind of protect them. There's another boom cannon next to the shield generator. Nothing I could do about that. I wasn't going to waste an artillery shell or some critters just to take down one mine, so I just have to like suck it up and let my tanks walk on it. Luckily it was a healthy tank, so I didn't lose any of them. That sniper tower on the left though, they're so annoying. Sniper towers alone for tanks can be very annoying, especially if your tanks are really low in health. Anyhow, hug the left wall and let them just clear as many buildings as possible, including the shield generator. So once I was comfortable with a fair amount of buildings taken down, I shocked the cannon, the boom cannon, the mortar, rocket launcher. I was waiting for the tanks to take down the one cannon first, and then I threw a second shock, flare to the boom cannon, right there. I wasn't too sure if I was going to make it or not, but I still had to try. Right there goes the boom cannon. Flare, didn't waste any time, throw another shock, couldn't risk that cannon taking one single shot at my tanks. After that, we flared to the last cannon. I don't think I had any more gunboat energy for another shock, so I started throwing a medkit in the bottom, and when I was able to, I threw another medkit in the top, because those flamethrowers were going to do constant damage. That's the bad thing about flamethrowers. And then I had the mortars and the one sniper tower right there on the right side just sniping my tanks. It didn't look like I had a lot of tanks, and I was still losing tanks by the second, really. So I needed to get rid of that one mortar because the mortar has a lot of range and it doesn't do a lot of DPS over time. So I backed up a little bit, mainly to stay out of range of that sniper tower. The bad thing was that the tanks moved backwards, but the tanks moved backwards, but their medics remained where they were. So the medics ended up being parked in front of the tanks, which wasn't good because they were absorbing all of the rockets from the rocket launcher. So sure, it was buying my tanks a few extra seconds, but for every medic that I lost, and I only had 3 medics left, now only 2, so I didn't have any more medics left to heal my troops back up. So at this point, it became a time game. We can go fast. I was sweating. There was nothing more I can do. I was completely out of gunboat energy, but fortunately, they were able to take it down with about maybe 7 seconds left, so it came down pretty close. So that was global number 8, I think it was. So that was a pretty good takedown. Best one of the night so far, even though I just kind of started playing. So you can tell it did take me a few tries. Next base is GC at 1566. He is a number 27, 23 in the world. I forgot. He deserves the respect of finding out where his ranking is. So GC, number 27 in the global. So second global player. There's my attacks, GC right there. So similar thing, same attack strategy, same amount of boost. He did have 7 ice statues, but only the masterpieces were boosted. So he had less boost than the first base I just took down. So this one was better. The other thing is that the only thing about his base is his layout was a little unconventional, mainly because the shot launchers were placed right on the sides of the HQ. They're usually in the front, so I'm used to taking them down early in the attack, not all the way towards the end. So if he had boosted all of his statues, it would have been a much more difficult raid for me. But because there were all the boom cannons were in the middle, all my tanks were actually doing pretty well. Also, he didn't have a lot of boosts. I have to, make that a point, because if he had boosted all his statues, I don't think I would have taken him down. So you can see how my tanks are kind of eating up at the base. I did take down one of the rocket launcher, one of the shot launchers and the boom cannon in the very beginning. Right there, threw a pack of critters to distract those 2 little cannons. Threw some more critters because that the shot launcher was going to become a big issue. There were 3 cannons, 1 boom cannon overall there, shooting at my troops. I couldn't risk it. You can see how I flared the tanks, and I don't really like flaring tanks, especially when there's a shot launcher. For this very reason, because one shot can shock the entire group of tanks for a long time, and tanks are just so slow. So getting shocked is actually very detrimental for the attack. So at this point, the shock was the main target. I had to get rid of that first, and then let the tanks. I still had a good number of tanks, so I was like, screw this. I'm just gonna take all the hits. I didn't have any more for shocks. So, but the good thing is that I didn't have to take all the boom cannons, because as you can see right there, I flare back a little bit. We can go twice the speed now. At this point, this 1 boom cannon was 2 squares away from the HQ, which meant that if I parked them on the other corner, right there where the flare is, the boom cannon would be out of range. So, I was counting on that to finish off the raid, and I still had a pretty decent number of tanks. I had to flare straight to the HQ because there were two silly little tanks who kind of started, straying off to the top there. We can go 4 times the speed because there's not much more to see. This base could have been much more difficult if he had more boosts. I really have to say that. But fortunately for me, he didn't. So it was relatively an easy takedown. There we go. So that was GC's base, global number 27. I have another base here. Gorkim's base, this wasn't much of a challenge really. He did have, I think, 5 or 4 ice statues. I think it was 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, 5 ice statues. 5 ice statues, but only the building health masterpiece was boosted. His shields were also a little bit positioned in a funny place because they were kind of like in the back there, but I don't know. It just looked a little unusual to me. But same strategy: put down the rifles, put down the tanks, try to take out one of the shot launchers and one of the boom cannons with their gunboat energy, and then just let the tanks start walking, making their way into the base. Once I took down the boom cannon and the shot launcher on the front, we can flare them to the left side. I had to throw a smoke to protect the tanks from that cannon. The 2 little cannons up there were kind of making me a little nervous, but not much we can do in there. We just have to deal with them. So I think we're gonna throw some critters. I was hoping to activate that 1 shock bomb. It'll distract a little bit of those cannons, and then we can start flaring straight, shock and then flare straight to the boom cannon. As you can see, once that boom cannon goes down, there'd be nothing else, threatening my troops really. At least there's only like the rocket launchers and 1 machine gun, which wasn't a big deal. The last boom cannon here was just so far behind the HQ that thing was going to be completely out of range of my troops, so I didn't even have to worry about it. I did, however, have to take down 1 of the shields at least, because the tanks alone, there's no way they could have had enough time to take out both of the shield generators. So I have to the 2 shields. Yeah, I had to work at least on 1 of them, and then park them on a safe spot. I did have 2 mortars and 2 rocket launchers laying on us, which was a lot. So I shocked 1 of them, 1 of each on one side, and then just kind of let my troops finish off the HQ. Like I said, he only had 1 building health masterpiece boosted. If the defensive building damage had been boosted, who knows how much more of a struggle it would have been. But lucky for me, it wasn't, so I just went ahead and took advantage of that. Now, the last base is Chicha's base. Chicha has actually a YouTube channel. He's from Spain, and I've watched a lot of his videos. So, he's also the number 2 player in Spain. He just finished his push, which is why he has the 5 ice statues, and only 4 of them are boosted. I know for a fact he just finished his push, I think, like a couple of days ago. And in fact, I just saw his video on YouTube today announcing that as of tomorrow, he's going to switch out all of his ice for offensive statues. So from now on, his base is going to be, I don't think he's going to have any ice on his base. Anyhow, I still went in, tried to take him down. This is the second time, by the way. I took him down one time when he was at full boost using TGRM, which was actually really great. One of my best TGRM attacks ever, in my opinion. So that's in one of my videos before in the past. So this is the third time overall he spawns on my map, but the second time I beat him. The second time he spawned, I kind of just refreshed him because I didn't have gold to, deal with him. He didn't have a full 5 of defending statues at the time, so I didn't have the gold to deal with it. Anyhow, on this time we were able to take him down, but this was annoying because he did have a lot of building health, so I wasn't able to take down the second shot launcher over there. So I had to start moving my troops, and I kind of ran out of gunboat energy, which I don't like. That's the problem when you only have one GBE masterpiece, but nothing else I could do. I had to just keep moving on with the raid. I did, however, have to make a priority of taking down the last shot launcher because it was going to be too dangerous, especially with all the boom cannon staining. So even though I didn't have much gunboat energy, as soon as I had enough gunboat energy for another artillery shell, I had to just throw it on there, right there, to finish it off. And then fortunately for me, he did have a lot of economy buildings on the side, so I was able to kind of recuperate a little bit of the GBA that I had lost in the front there. So right there, once I took down the little cannon, I waited for them to finish off the rocket launcher and then flare straight to the boom cannon. Well, shock first and then flare. There we go. And it's kind of a rinse and repeat thing at this point, but when you're pushing consistency, it's the key. Not doing anything too radical. Right there, I don't think I had gunboat energy for anything at all. I did have a fair decent amount of tanks left, but no gunboat energy for any more shocks. So you can see that one boom cannon is just picking off some of my tanks, but I was waiting to get enough gunboat energy so I could shock one more time and then flare straight to the boom cannon. Right there. So once I take out the boom cannon, they'll go ahead and take out the mortars also. And from here on, I think we can go 2 times the speed because they'll just clear out the mortars. Got enough for a medkit, so I threw the medkit right on there. And right here, this time the raid really came down to time because I think I only ended up with like 4 seconds left, which was really, really close. But fortunately for me, it did come down. But at this point, look, there were 39 seconds and the shield wasn't even down yet. But then I have to admit, once the tanks do wear down the shield, they actually have a lot of damage. And they can take down the HQ on its own really quickly. It's just that you need time for that because they shoot every 5 seconds, which is a long time. But anyways, the base did go down. It did take only 1 try. Chicha, I'm so sorry, but you're done with your push, so you don't need the victory points anyways. I need them more than you do now. So thanks a lot for letting me do the attack. So that's just the 4 attacks I did with TRM. I do have global number 2 in here, but I try to attack him a few times. Total fails. I mean, he does have 7 ice statues. 6 of them boosted though. He doesn't have all 7 boosted, but 6 statues boosted out of 7 is quite a lot. So TRM was not the answer, mainly because of these 2 cannons in here. The positioning of those is just too dangerous for me. I'm gonna give it a try with CRZM, but if I can't defeat him, I may just have to refresh it and hope for an easier base. But in any case, I'll try that. But if I do beat him, which we'll see if I do. I don't feel too confident. But if I do beat him, I'll be sure to share that with you guys. Okay, guys? So that's it for now. 4 attacks. I don't want to keep the video way too long. I'll keep playing, and hopefully I can bring my VP back up because I just got raided so many times today. I think 8 times overall between yesterday and today, which is a lot. So, we'll see. We're going to keep on playing and hopefully bring that VP up. Okay, guys? So until then, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you get to see you guys next time. I'm Max115, and I'll see you guys in the next push. Bye, guys.